So welcome everyone. There was a delay today, guys, due to some internet maintenance. So this batch, which I'll be starting from today is, first of all, let me give my introduction and what we will be doing it. So guys, this batch is basically for advanced WAF, and some people know it as ASM also. F5 has termed it as ASM, which is called Application Security Manager. And other people can also say it as a WAF, which is called Web Application Firewall. And it is basically works on your application layer attacks, that is layer 7 device. So this have a module which is called Advanced WAF. Previously, people were knowing it as a WAF. Now F5 has been changed to F5 Advanced WAF. So there are 3 or 4 features which have been introduced. Okay, so I'll be giving you the introduction. This batch will be weekend class. So today this is day 1 class. I'll be taking proper day 1 class. So that it cannot be demo or something. It is free from everyone. So if you want to see how I teach, some people wanted to know why this is mandatory. So I'll be covering every part of it. So guys, F5, F5 is in market from long time, maybe 20 years, 30 years. Okay. And it has a new product which has been introduced now, which is called Advanced WAF. And in Advanced WAF, they have introduced one SASE-based product, which is called F5 Distributed Cloud. Okay. So people were thinking like if when cloud is coming into picture, will F5 will still in market? Yeah. So F5 has introduced his new product, which is called XC. It is the same product, but it is in cloud. Concepts are same. And this WAF comes under your layer 7 device. How it is different from other firewalls, that will come to know slowly. But this is one of the module which is there. So F5 has a product called Big IP. So in Big IP, the first product which has been introduced was LTM. That was purely based on your load balancer. After that, they introduced one more product which is called GTM. That is called DNS. Now they have a product called for security, which is in huge demand, guys, which is called Advanced Web Application Firewall. And they have one more module which is called APM, which is called Access Policy Manager. So these are the 4 products which are mostly used in your production environment, guys. So this you should know that which are the, because people have confusion like which modules will be covering in this training. So what I'll be covering here is WAF, this one, which is called Advanced WAF Firewall. And guys, what is covered in this? First, I'll show that, then I'll be introduction about. And the exam module for this is F5303. That is called Advanced WAF. And if someone is looking for certification, they need to first clear 101, then 201, then they can clear 303. Also, this is called ASM, which is called Application Security Manager. So here in this whole course, I'll be covering from starting from hands-on experience so that you can understand what are vulnerability. And this module will help you to grow in cybersecurity also, guys. Because this module will cover how to protect from OWASP top 10 attack. Trust me, guys, there are very few engineers in market who are good in advanced WAF. Okay. So their certification is also in huge demand. If you want to go to Dubai, Singapore, Australia, US, UK, it is in huge demand because you can be good in CEH, you can be good in OSCP, but this product will help you if you are good in Palo Alto, if you are good in LTM. This whole combo with LTM plus WAF will make you a good expert in security because you are already working in security field. Don't worry, guys, if you are not in security field, I'll be teaching from starting, which will make you expert and which will help you to become good in cybersecurity. So in cybersecurity, this product comes under your application security. So one of the major product which is there in cybersecurity is called your application security product that I'll be covering here. Okay. And we will be covering all the topics with practical understanding. And myself, guys, I'll be working in this field from 15 years. I've already done this certification. Plus, guys, this will be your weekend classes, Saturday, Sunday. And timings will be 10 a.m. IST to 12:30 p.m. IST. And my main agenda is after this training, guys, you will be able to work in production environment. Plus, you will be able to clear any of this interview because people are lacking in interview. Now, guys, how this will help you to become. So, guys, this course is suitable for security also, network administrator also, where I'll be covering from deployment part, fine tuning part, and day-to-day operation. So I'll be covering design part in this, plus implementation, plus operations. Because all we are in same field, guys. Okay, so this is for both network plus security admin. And the exam which this will help you will be clearing this. That is called Big IP ASM. Nowadays, it is also called Advanced WAF. So there are 12 modules which I'll be covering, but for 5 minutes, guys, I'll be pausing this recording. So guys, this module will be covering four things. First, we will be covering WAF. After that, we'll be covering both defense. After that, we'll be covering API security. API security is in huge demand, guys. Nowadays, all your applications are based on API also. So I'll be covering that also, plus DDoS. So this whole journey will take more than 1.5 months. It will be around 26 to 30 hours training, guys. And trust me, guys, after that, you don't require, you will be seeing the difference. Even in hike, plus it will help you to get a good job also. Because nowadays, cybersecurity or application security or information security is required because people are doing attacks at layer 7 or maybe DDoS or at a API level or at a bot. So my main agenda is I'll be covering this whole training in these four things. These are your four main modules, but there are 12 submodules of this. First module, guys, I'll be giving you introduction about operating system, big IP architecture, and application traffic flow. Like in market, guys, if you see, like how or where is WAF is placed. So just I'll draw a topology for you just for 2 minutes, then we'll be covering further on. So main agenda is where should be, first question which everyone has is where should be my WAF placed? Where in my environment I should place a WAF? Anyone can tell me, let's say I have a users coming from internet. They will be connecting to our very, very important question, guys. Router. Then there will be a firewall. Then there will be a, let's say, layer 2 switch. Then might be there are servers. So Irshad, one of the student was asking question, what is the difference between firewall versus F5 advanced WAF? Very, very important question. First of all, guys, can firewall provide you load balancer features? Anyone, yes or no? Is firewall capable? Let's say I have hundred of clients coming from internet. Does firewall has a capability that for some of the client traffic should go to server one, some of the client traffic should go to server two, for some of the client traffic should go to server three. Does firewall has capability of this load balancer? No. Okay. Second thing, does firewall protects from parameter tampering attacks? I am saying parameter tampering attack. Does firewall know that let's say you are accessing sianets.com application. In that there is one component LTM. So if someone wants to change the price of my LTM course, does firewall able to detect? I'll give you an example. I'll open the website, just 1 minute. I'll go to learn.cnets.com. I'll go to my courses. Right now, this course is packet level training is 15,000. Does firewall have a knowledge of what is URL, what is file type, what is parameter? Does firewall is capable to detect this of any website? Let's say you have a website called learn.cnets.com. Does firewall able to detect which URL customer is using, which file type and which parameter? Because firewall is generally to protect from network security from one network to another, but firewalls are generally not installed behind your application layer, so you need a device who has a knowledge of application layer. Does firewall able to detect HTTP headers in detail? When I talk about HTTP header, I am talking about HTTP request and HTTP response. I'll be covering that. But simply I'll say if I change this parameter, guys, I'll change the price of 1 rupees. Does firewall able to detect it? A simple question to everyone. If someone changes, I know that a WAF firewall, a WAF can protect from some of the attacks. But does firewall have a capability to detect parameter level knowledge? Another example I'll come. First, I'll see another thing. Does firewall, I'll say firewall versus advanced WAF. Does firewall can protect from cookie tampering attack? If someone gets access to cookie, does firewall protects from it? No, guys. Advanced WAF has a knowledge of whole HTTP layer. It knows what is the cookie. If someone change the cookie, F5 advanced WAF. So cookie is a text file which is stored in your browser. Another thing, guys, when I talk about firewall, so let's say you have an application which is called Apache. And your operating system which is used in your application is Linux. Your database is SQL. You have one application. Vidit sir has got a request that I need to protect this application under F5 WAF. So does firewall has a capability to understand whether your application is using Linux operating system or web server technology is Apache or database is SQL. I want to apply attack signatures related to this. Mostly your IPS, IDS or firewall will apply attack signatures. They have an attack signature database. But I want to apply attack signatures only related to Linux operating system. My database should be SQL and my web server is Apache. Does your firewall able to capture that? No. They cannot apply attack signature related to particular operating system, particular web server technology. So that is why you need to understand where a firewall is placed and where is your WAF placed. So in an architecture, when I talk about, you have client 1, client 2, client 3. You have a layer 7 router. You have a firewall. Then there is a device called WAF. Then after that, there will be a switch. Then there will be servers. So this is how the placement of firewall and WAF is. WAF is always placed at your application, near your application, and firewall is placed at your perimeter layer, or I can say network layer. That is very, very important, guys. Firewall is always placed at your network layer. It can protect your network from untrust, and this is your trust network. So guys, let's say if someone got an access to your application, does firewall able to detect whether there is any change in your application or not? Anyone? So firewall will only capture your rules or maybe protect from your attacks. But does firewall have a knowledge of your response traffic? What is coming in your response traffic? Firewall can only detect your HTTP request. But does it have a knowledge of your HTTP response header? So that is why you should know about what is web application firewall and what is network layer firewall. People say that it is layer 7, agree. So they have a detection of application, user ID. Like if I say about Palo Alto, it has a capability to identify your application, but it is not placed near your application layer. It can only detect traffic coming from this layer, but it is not able, if something get changed at your response traffic, it will not able to detect. So if you want a full capability, like you want a firewall, you want a WAF and a DDoS device. So you should follow this topology, guys. Now question can come. It's a very important question. Should we use a separate DDoS device? Or should we use a firewall DDoS or WAF DDoS? Anyone? In this environment, should we use a separate DDoS device? Anyone? Or we should use a separate DDoS device? So guys, if you are a good architecture or if a good security architecture, you are a solution architect or a security architect, your duty should be you should follow an hybrid approach. So you should have a separate DDoS device. You should have a separate layer 7 firewall and you should have a separate load balancer and WAF device. Like I should use a separate DDoS device, firewall, load balancer, and WAF. Why? Guys, if this layer goes hack by an application layer, at least this can be protected at this layer. If it does get hacked, your attacks can be protected at this layer. Very, very important, guys. So you should always follow a hybrid approach because nowadays, guys, your web application is one of the major target for hacker. When I talk about web application layer, that is a layer 7. It has a target which is coming into picture because every hacker nowadays try to hack your HTTP based application or HTTPS, that is layer 7. Because your applications, how the layer will be, first they will communicate with your application servers, then at the backend that will be connected to your backend servers. Because application is hosted on your server. So how the application is hosted? So when I talk about load balancer, guys, F5 is coming here between client. So all your client traffic will first hit your virtual IP. Very, very important, guys. After that, you have multiple servers. So these are called your app servers. Some people can say web servers also, or some people can say backend server. So all your traffic is coming here. So what is virtual IP? So someone was asking, do you have to have a knowledge of LTM? No, but you should have knowledge of this. What is virtual IP? What is pool member? And what is pool? So application layer, this is called your web application, your original application when you access google.com or when you access aws.com, that is hosted here on your servers. And after that, they get communicated with your database layer. And web application are very interesting target for hackers. That is the major target for an hacker nowadays. So when I talk about WAF, guys, okay, how the traffic will come that you should know. So let's take an architecture diagram. You have device here, multiple devices are connected. Okay, let's say this is internet, and let's say this is an HTTPS traffic. I want to connect to HTTPS learn dot, very, very important, guys. Every minute of today class is very important, guys. Don't miss it. Please take an advantage of a free class. Next class will not be free. Many people don't know what is layer 7 or WAF. That is why I made today class, why this is an important skill to learn. Without this technology, you cannot be good in your cybersecurity. So every IT engineer should have knowledge of WAF, that is called Web Application Firewall. Now, there will be a device called ASM, or some people can say Advanced WAF. Okay. After that, there will be a data layer, that is a database, and there will be an application servers. So there can be server 1, server 2, server 3. These are your web servers. Now, guys, what is an advantage of this layer? So I will go here. Client will access this application. So traffic will first go here. What is my virtual IP? First, you should know virtual IPs. Guys, virtual IP is nothing but an IP address of your URL. Let's say, hey, Vidit, I want to protect my sianets application. So customer has three requirements, guys. First, customer wants 24 into 7 availability. So Irshad, does firewall provides 24 into 7 availability of your application? Mr. Irshad or anyone on the chat. Does firewall has a capability to provide 24 into 7 availability of your application? No, guys. So that is why you required an F5 with ASM. So ASM not only providing you 24 into 7 availability, but it is providing you security also. Plus it is providing you scalability also. So that is why it is in huge demand. So WAF is designed to protect your application. This is your application from layer 7 attacks. So if someone asks you what is WAF, so WAF is your web application firewall, which will protect your web server against your attacks. And that can be your layer 7 attacks. That is why most of your application are placed on DMZ. So guys, if someone asks you where WAF is placed or where your load balancer is placed, so generally they are placed at your DMZ layer, which is called public internet facing. So your WAF will protect your applications from internet. So customers will come to how WAF will come to know whether this is legal traffic or this is illegal traffic. So that is where WAF has a concept called security policy. Now I'll be talking about very important term, guys. Please understand. I have client one, I have client two, I have a firewall, I have a load balancer, simple load balancer. I'm not talking about WAF. I'm only talking about LTM. Now I have multiple servers. That is called web application. Now my question is, guys, I got a requirement. Hey, I want to protect this application. Customer wants that this application should be 24 into 7 accessible. Now, what is the first requirement, guys? In firewall, what things I need to do? So this is called your virtual IP. Let's say my virtual IP is 192.168.1.100. How the traffic will come? Your firewall will require two things. Let's say this is internet. Guys, can anyone tell me what is the source IP and destination IP and port number? Does firewall needs a policy in this setup? Anyone? Very important things, guys, I'm talking about. Please make it interactive. What will be the source IP? Source IP will be internet. What will be the destination IP? Destination IP will be the virtual IP and the port number will be 443. Do I need to require anything else? Since this is public network, this is private network. Does I require anything else in my firewall to make this setup work? Anyone? This is public. Traffic is public internet. They want to access my private IP. Can they access? What is required? So there is a, let me see the answer. Which net, guys? Excellent. Answer is destination net. So now the traffic comes here after firewall rules have been opened. Traffic comes to load balancer. Now, guys, Does this load balancer or a LTM, that is called layer 7 load balancer or layer 4 load balancer, does it has a capability to determine whether this client 1 is hacker or this client 2 is hacker? Anyone? I have a load balancer. Load balancer will only receive a request from a client and it will send traffic to server 1, server 2 or server 3 based on your load balancing algo. So firewall cannot do it. Firewall does not know how to distribute traffic across different servers or how to load balancer. That is why we require a load balancer. Firewall cannot do it. So load balancer has a capability to distribute traffic. 50 requests will be sent here, 50 will be here, 50 will be here. So that no overutilization will happen. Now my question is, does load balancer has a capability to detect whether this traffic is good coming from client 1 or whether this traffic is bad? Anyone? So everyone is saying no. Excellent, guys. So now here we install a WAF behind a load balancer. So WAF is nothing but a part of your load balancer. Even in cloud, guys, you first create a load balancer that is called application load balancer, that is called ALB. And after that, you apply a WAF that is called layer 7 policy. So WAF has a mechanism to detect whether the request which is coming from client 1 is good or bad. So in load balance, there are two scenario. Okay, I will draw a two scenario. You will understand difference between an LTM and a WAF. So in LTM, what happens? Your client 1, client 2 coming on load balancer. Then there is layer 2 switch. Then you have multiple servers. So your original application means like sianets.com is hosted on this layer. So what will happen? Your client request come here, load balancer will distribute based on load balancing algo. If this is down, it will send to this. Now next request will come, it will send to this. It is just forwarding a traffic coming from this. But even it is a bad traffic, guys. Even hacker can also access this application, right or not? Anyone? When traffic is coming from multiple internet, they want to access application hosted in this server or this server or this server. Does it check whether traffic is bad and I should stop it? No, guys. So in this case, guys, load balancer is just forwarding traffic coming here. It is just forwarding based on load balancing algo. Now, what is an advantage of WAF? So when WAF is placed, you have client. So when WAF is placed before your application layer, WAF will check whether traffic is good. If traffic is good, then only it will do the load balancing algo. If traffic is bad, guys, it will stop and it will block your traffic. That is very, very important, guys. WAF will not forward the traffic on servers. If traffic is bad, it will block it. So how does it block, guys? Based on attack signatures, there are many things. Based on your HTTP protocol compliance, so it will check many things. So does firewall does it? No, guys. So WAF is always placed in line on application delivery controller, guys. And WAF, if someone asks you, it will protect from OWASP top 10 that I'll be covering. So these are the top attacks, top dangerous attacks which are there in market in internet layer, guys. Another advantage of WAF, which does not have firewall. So does firewall, Mr. Irshad or anyone, does it have knowledge of web protocol and language? Whether which application they are using it, which language they are using it. Your application server or a database server, does firewall has knowledge? So WAF has a dedicated engine, guys. It can do traffic decoding. That plus it has a knowledge of your web protocol, whether it is using Apache, whether operating system is Linux, and database is MySQL. Firewall can give you the capability of web attack signature database or attack signature, but your firewall does not have capability of URL protection, or I can say cookie based tampering. Firewall does not give you capability to protect. Or if I say form based or user input, I'll give you one example. I'll go to ICICI.com. You will tell me one thing here. You will come to know. I'll ask you one question. Here I am login. Okay, this is my ICICIbank.com. Does firewall able to detect these parameters? What is parameter, guys? Can anyone tell me what is parameter in HTTP? Because many people does not know what is parameter. So let's talk about that. So I need to tell you what is URL before proceeding further. What is parameter and what is file type. Okay, let's go further on. These are our course content that I'll cover later on because I first want to show you about WAF. Just 1 minute. So this is the traffic flow which I wanted to show you. So let's first discuss this, then I'll talk about how HTTP works, what is URL, what is parameter, what is file type. So guys, this is client first request. Okay, first it will hit your virtual server. So virtual server is nothing but it is an IP address of your URL. All your traffic will first hit your virtual server. Now in virtual server, you will apply layer 7 WAF policy. So guys, if there are two things, second request, if there is a layer 7 policy on your virtual server, then it will check the policy. In policy, it will check whether it is a bad traffic or good. If layer 7 WAF policy is not there, then can you see it is going to default pool. It is not checking whether it's good traffic or bad traffic, but here it is checking whether your request, this is third request, ASM policy is there, WAF features are enabled, then it will check. If it's a valid request, then only it will go to server because your main application or a web page is coming from pool. So guys, what is pool? Pool is nothing but a collection of your web server. That is server 1, server 2, server 3. If it is not a valid request, then you will get a violation. Why? Request is getting blocked. So that is how your traffic flows when I talk about WAF, when WAF is there in market. Okay, that is very, very important, guys. Okay, now let's talk about HTTP request and response. That is very important, guys. Don't miss that. This is not a demo or something, this is a class. So I wanted to follow from this. Now, what I'll do is I'll write one URL, http colon colon support.f5.com slash kb enus search dot html question mark product equal to ASM. Now, can anyone tell me, guys, what is protocol here? Anyone can tell me in the chat. What is the URL in this request? This is a HTTP URL request when you type in browser. So what is the protocol here? What is the URL? What is the host name? What is the URI? And what is the path? And what is the parameter? So guys, if you understand this, it will be very, very important for you. Anyone? Protocol is HTTP. URL is support.f5.com slash kb slash enus. Many people are wrong here. This is the URL. Let me see the answer. Now, what is the host name? Anyone can tell me the host name in this whole HTTP request? Anyone? What is the host name, guys? See, I know people have a weekend, they have a festival coming, but please, please don't miss this. Because today class is a basic but a very important. Again, I am focusing on this. This skill is mandatory to learn nowadays because cybersecurity attacks are the top attacks nowadays. Even our Prime Minister Modi has informed that in 2025, if you're not good in cybersecurity or application security, your job, if you're good in routing switching, will impact. If you're only good in routing switching or firewalls, it will not help you because market has changed. Now, host name here is, guys, support.f5.com. What is a URI here? So URI is what is coming after slash. This is the URI slash kb slash enus slash search dot html. Sometimes this is also called file type object. Now, anyone can tell me what is the file type in this whole URL? Anyone? We have talked about URL. What is the file type? Anyone? What is the file type in this? Let's see the answer. Excellent, guys. File type is HTML. What is the path here? Can anyone tell me the path? Path is /kb/enus. Can someone tell me what is the parameter here in this request? Parameter in this request. Excellent, Rajan, Mohin. This is the parameter. Very good, guys. I'm really happy. So whatever comes after question mark, this is called query string. This is not difficult. Again say I'm starting from basics. Parameter is this one. Does firewall able to detect all this? Does firewall provides you mapping of all this? A normal layer 7 firewall, does it protect? Now, I'll give you one example of ICIC.com after this. So this is name of a parameter and this is value. So whatever is coming after question mark is query string and parameter is called name equal to value. So what it is saying is go to this website. How to read this, guys? It is saying that go to this website. Okay. Then it is saying that there is a KB article where I need to search for ASM. It will give me only pages related to ASM. So this is how HTTP works, guys. Anyone can tell me now one question for you all. You all are good in network. HTTP, this is an interview question, is stateful or a stateless protocol? Anyone? By default, HTTP is stateful or a stateless protocol? So HTTP by default is stateless. And how I can make it stateful? I need an answer. By default, HTTP is a stateless protocol. How to make stateful? Using persistence. We talked about cookie persistence. Very, very important, guys. Now, let me discuss further on HTTP request and response. For 5 minutes, you should know HTTP request and response model. I'll ask this question to you. I have a client. I have an F5. I have 3 servers. When client wants to connect to HTTPS, sianets.com. First request will come to F5 virtual server. These are called your pool members. And pool is a combination of all this. So pool member is nothing, guys, but an IP address of your server plus port number on which your application is listening. Now my question is, which one is request here? This one is the response when client wants to connect to HTTPS, or this is called request header. This is request or response. So this is called your request header. And when something is coming from server side to F5, that is called your response. So always HTTP is combination of your request and response model. Very, very important, guys. So now I'll show you the picture so that you can understand about HTTP request and response model. Then I'll talk about ICICI Bank use case. So I'll go to HTTP request and response headers. We will be using Fiddler tool, guys, but I'm just explaining you how it looks like. So guys, here you can see this is request header. So here first it will have a get. So this is called HTTP method. So guys, can anyone tell me here one question for you? Firewall, let's say someone wants to is using that delete method. It is saying that delete cell.php page from my website. So this is guys a vulnerability. Someone is initiating as a hacker this request. Does firewall protect it? Does firewall has a capability to detect which method is coming under your URL? When someone initiate your HTTP request, does firewall able to detect which method is being used? Yes or no? Does firewall has a capability to see what the user agent which customer is using? What is the host header? Whether there is any what I say redirection happening or there are phishing page. Does firewall able to detect what is phishing page? No, guys. So this is called your request headers. I will talk about this headers. So accept encoding is one header, host is one header. Your WAF is capable to read all this. If they found anything unusual, it will block your request. And this is your response. Response means that you are getting 200 okay at which date, what is the encoding language, what is the type. Now let me guys come across different modules which we'll be covering. First module guys, I'll be covering setting up your big IP. So guys, for WAR, we will be needing three images. One, you will need a laptop. Second, we need an F5 image. And if you have a new laptop, even 4 GB RAM will work. And one good advantage of F5 is, guys, they give you free license. You don't need to test any feature with paying. Everything is free license, guys. 30 days license is free of cost. Even guys, if you want to practice some features, they have a simulator also. You might not know that. That's why I told you, please don't leave this class. I'll be telling you everything in detail which you don't know. Just type simulator.f5.com. So this is the simulator which you can test it. This is your XC which I was talking about, distributed cloud. Okay, this link is simulator.f5.com. In this, I'll show you this. I'll open this distributed cloud. So here it will give you how a WAF can protect your application. Can you see this? We'll be covering this in detail. We will cover WAF, API security, boot defense, DDoS. So your application can be hosted in private cloud. Your application can be hosted in public cloud, or your application can be hosted in edge location. WAF can protect from anywhere. And this is your client. This one is your F5, and this is your server layer. So F5 is acting as a middle man. So here, this in this example, guys, they have taken one generic application which is deployed in AWS, but that is not protected. How a WAF can protect? This is the scenario in this simulator. That, guys, I'll only cover when, because today is the first class, but I don't want to cover here. Only for enrolled students, I'll be able to show this scenario. But these are the four main topics we'll be covering. This has subtopics. So I wanted to show you this link. Okay. So it is WAF, API security, boot defense, and DDoS. So I was talking about RAM. If you have 8 GB RAM, minimum RAM, if you have an old laptop, 1 or 2 years, then you should have 8 GB RAM. Otherwise, if you have no new laptop, 4 GB RAM is enough. I'll be doing all the labs where I'll be showing you how to perform an attack and how WAF can protect from attacks. So in this case, we'll have one vulnerable application. So that I'll be sharing you today, whoever has enrolled. So we'll be using PHP application, guys. So we will have a topology where we'll have our laptop. Then we need one F5 image. So that image also I'll be sharing. Then we have one application called PHP application. Okay, so three images we need. You have a laptop image. You already have a laptop. You need VMware workstation. We'll do all our labs in VMware, guys. And the third thing, you require a PHP application. And fourth thing, F5 big IP image. And how it looks like. So it is looking like this. So this is the image. I'll just log in and I'll show you. And today I'll talk about license also, guys. License is important because before next class, you should all request how you should know how to get a license. So please stay with me. So by default, guys, F5 comes with GUI and CLI. So for GUI, guys, Username is admin and password is admin. So what you need to do, initially you will not have a license. So what are the tasks which we need to do? So first task, when your images are ready, you have to configure management IP address. After that, you have to configure license. And third one is resource provisioning. Here we will be using WAF as a module. In previous classes, we have done LTM, but in this, we will be using WAF. Fourth thing, we'll be using a network setup. After that, we'll be creating VIP pool members. So this is how our lab setup will be. So now my task is I need to tell you how to generate a free 30 days license, guys. Very, very important. So that before next class, you can generate this. So you should have a valid F5 case. So what you need to do, go to Google. You should have a F5 support access. Go to F5 30 days license. Go to product trial. Okay. Just back again, I'm showing you F5 30 days license. Go to product trial. So here you just need to go to click get free trial. Now here you need to, so where you need to go, just click on F5 distributed. Instead go here, you will see F5 distributed cloud. Here you need to see Big IP virtual edition. Just go here, get the free trial. Just register or login. If you don't have your account, just go to register and type. Now here you need to register. So if I am registered, I'll just sign in. I'll type my email ID. Next, I'll type skill 005, sign. Okay, this password might not work. Let me back to sign in. Now, I will type a password. Skill, sign in. So here you will get a code. So guys, I'm giving you 5 minutes. You can register it and get a license. So I'll get a code, just 1 minute. You can register also. I'm checking. So you have 5 minutes, please register. And then I'm just sharing your screen how you will get a license. I'm getting a code, I got a code. I'm sharing my screen because there are few things more to discuss. So first, this is important. So you will now log in. Okay, same way you also log in, guys, everyone. Now here, just click on trials. Just read. Done. Now here, you will click start free trial because I have clicked. You have to click here, big IPVE, big IQVE, start free trial. Just do it, guys, giving you 5 minutes, then we'll proceed further. Okay, this way, guys, you will get a license. It will be in your portal. If you are getting, some people might get time. So best, if you don't want to try today, always use your office registered email ID, guys. Official ID, you will get license easily. Make sure your address and other things should not be fake. That is very, very important. Because if you feel something wrong, it will, and mostly your F5s are available Monday to Friday. So try tomorrow after 8 p.m. IST because they work on US hours. Okay, this one was a license. Now let me talk about modules. So in first module, I'll be talking about big IP. Then I'll be talking about traffic processing. Then I'll be covering your OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities with web application about HTTP, which I was covering. Then we will starting with security policy deployment, guys. So let's say you get a license. Then I'll go to F5. I'll just click on admin. Just go to system resource provisioning, guys. Very, very important another setting which I'm telling you. Now here you have to, previously lab we did LTM. Now we don't need LTM, just select ASM. In resource provisioning, very, very important question, guys. First of all, you want to see license. Can you see my license will get expired in June 24. And I have ASM license, even advanced WAF license. And I'm using which image? Latest image of F5, 16 version. So what I'll do, I'll go to resource provisioning. And by default, guys, F5 is in huge demand because they give you everything in practice. Before going into live production environment, you can practice everything in lab environment. Every feature they give you with license. You can practice LTM labs, WAF labs, GTM labs. Every license is free. You don't need to pay anything. You go to resource provisioning. After just go to ASM module, select nominal, just submit. Okay, we will only provision ASM now. We don't need LTM. That is why 4 GB RAM is enough. Okay, it will take some time to restart. After that, guys, I will unmute you or we will take Q&A first after this course content discussion. So meanwhile, license is getting applied. Security policy, this is part of WAF. Then we'll talk about fine tuning, guys. Very, very important. What are violation? Let's say sometimes what happen, we have seen that your application owner or your customer team says that, hey, F5 WAF is blocking legal request. Even my traffic is legal, not illegal. Okay, it is blocking. So that is where fine tuning comes into picture. Very, very important. Then we'll talk about attack signatures. We will talk about default signatures versus what I say, custom signatures building goals. How we can create new signatures. Then we'll talk about positive security. There are two models we'll talk about, negative versus positive. Then we'll talk about cookies, how cookie tampering and cookie protection happens, user roles, parameter protection, how to build automatic. There are two modules. Either you build a policy automatic or manual. Then we will cover about vulnerability scanner, brute force attacks, session tracking, DDoS, bot protection, and API security. So guys, there are 20 modules. This is basics. But inside this, there are a lot of things which will come. Let's say one example. In module 3, I'll be covering all this. How and someone connects to an application, how the traffic flows, how layer 7 is, what are the security checks which are there, what is app layer, what is database layer. So I'll talk about each layer, how to examine HTTP request, HTTP response, how ASM parse file type URL and parameters. And we'll talk about Fiddler tool also. This is example I'm talking about here. This is subtopic, but detailed one is like this. Okay, each topic is a detailed topic. So these are module 20, which we'll be covering. But if you want to see detailed content, you, here it is. Like in each module, what are the things which are covered and how you can download this? I'll do it because this you can download. Go to sianets.com. Because for me today, I wanted to cover concepts. Syllabus, I don't want it to cover today because this you can download from Google. I'll go here, courses, or better what I'll do, I'll share this content with you. You can just go through. But this is how in every module for 2 minutes you can see what I'll be covering. And today, guys, after this, I'll be covering HA active active. So don't miss that concept. I'll talk about little bit on HA also. On that day, we discussed about active passive. Today, I'll be covering active active, how you can make active active HA scenario if I get time. Otherwise, no problem. This we'll cover in next class also. So in second module, we'll be covering this about network packet flow profile. So here also, guys, on that day we talked about I rule and local traffic policy. In ASM, we'll be using local traffic policy. So that concept is here also. That is for revision purpose. Module 3. So it is a detailed course. It will take more than 1.5 months, guys. Then we'll be covering common web application vulnerabilities. What are the vulnerabilities which are there nowadays? So like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, parameter tampering, key poisoning. All this will be covered here. Brute force attack. After that, guys, we'll be deploying layer 7 policy, where we'll talk about how to create a virtual server and how we can assign a policy because everything in WAF is defined here. Then we'll talk about attack signatures, manual policy, what type of protection a WAF can protect. Then we'll talk about policy, fine tuning, and violation. What is false positive? By default, in ASM guys or WAF, there are two modules, transparent and blocking. Initially, guys, we do not move the policy into blocking mode. What will happen, guys? Anyone can tell me if I have applied a WAF policy in virtual server, traffic comes to virtual server. In virtual server, I have applied layer 7 policy and that I have moved in blocking mode directly. What will happen? Anyone? Lot of false positive will happen. Lot of legal request will happen, which can get blocked. So that is why we first move the policy in transparent mode for 7 days or 15 days, then move into blocking mode. That I will discuss. Then we'll talk about attack signatures. Then we'll talk about positive security. How a request can be legal, which request you can think it as legal or illegal. So there here we have a concept called learning suggestions. Then we'll talk about cookie. What is cookie and how we can protect it in module 9. In module 10, we'll see about reporting. If some customer say that I want to see 7 days top attack, which is happening in my environment, how I can see. After that, guys, we'll see static parameter, dynamic parameter. Now here one example I was showing you. When I go to icicibank.com, okay, I will open it. I go to login. Now can anyone tell me what is the parameter here? In this page, which one is the parameter? I won't reply on the chat. Which one is the parameter? Excellent. User ID is a parameter. Now, when you type user ID as an email ID, does it take anyone? When I take user ID as a email ID, will it take it? Yes or no? So where this protection is applied? Where I have said that user ID can only be number. Does anyone know? Does it has anything on firewall? Or can we do on WAF? I'm saying that I've applied a security that user ID should be number and your password should be alphanumeric. Do you remember if you type small password, it will say bad password. So I should say it should be alphanumeric with 8 characters. Where we apply this type of protection? Anyone? Can we apply this in firewall? Irshad or anyone? So that is applied at WAF level. So that's why guys, WAF is very, very interesting. In WAF, we will create a parameter. This is called static parameters. And we will say it should be only number or password should be alphanumeric. So all this will be covered in module 11. And module 12 is basically your migration. Let's say if you want to move from one WAF to another box, how you can export and import. If someone has done some changes, how you can see? What are the different deployment modes? So you can deploy policy in automatic using your templates or statically. Even guys, I'll tell you one more important thing. You have a SIM tool, or sorry, you have a VAPT tool, which is doing your scanning, vulnerability assessment. You can share the report of it to WAF engineer. Then they will integrate that scanner output into ASM. Then ASM will automatically resolve the vulnerabilities. Very, very important. Does firewall has that capability? Whatever vulnerabilities have been captured in VAPT tool, does firewall resolve that? Then we'll talk about layered policy. This you will not get now. Then very important concept, brute force attack, login enforcement. I want that my critical pages, like you access different pages in flipkart.com, okay? There are different sub pages. I want that pages should be opened. Before that, there should be a login page that we will discuss. Brute force, session tracking. Then we will talk about geolocation, IP intelligence, web scraping, and after that, DDoS, bot defense, and API security. So now guys, I'll just show you the lab and I'll unmute you all. Let's have a Q&A now. And guys, don't worry, this was first class. My intention, since many people have already done training from me, what I do after each topic, I'll take a Q&A. Again, topic, then Q&A. So that is my approach. So in one class, there can be 2 or 3 Q&A session. So I'll go to system, resource. Oh, here it is. Now you can see there is one security tab. Here guys, we'll create policy. And that policy will apply in our virtual server. So what I'll do, I'll say ABC, I'll say fundamental, simple I'm doing it, or maybe rapid deployment, manual policy. I will say assign to virtual server, which virtual server? I'll do manually. Here I'll do transparent, just showing you and save it. I'm creating one policy, layer 7 policy in front of you. I'm just showing how to create a layer 7 policy and how to apply in your virtual server. I'm just showing you that. Okay, this policy has been created. Now, can you see it is in transparent mode? Now, how to apply this on virtual server? This is my one of the virtual server. Now, I'll go to security policies. Here, you need to enable, just go to virtual server, click on virtual server, security policies, just enable. And here, policy names comes. Just update. So in transparent mode, guys, one policy is there, it will not block anything, but it will give me the list of violation which is happening in my company. Okay. Once we move into blocking mode, then it will block your traffic. So this is how you can apply policy on your virtual server. As simple as that. Where you need to go? Go to security, application security, security policies. This is the policy. Here you can see different attack signatures. By default, WAF has a database of 2414 attack signatures. Okay, I'll just stop the recording.